All right, in this video, I have 22 sneaker cushioning technologies for 2022. And this is a big list. Lots and lots of comfort improvements in 2022 from the previous year, from the previous models of the same shoes that I'm going to be kind of focusing on. So there's going to be basically the technology that I'm going to talk about, and then my preferred pair of sneakers with that technology in it. 22 of them is a lot, so let's go ahead and get in. The number 22 spot goes to the Nike Air Zoom technology. Honestly, it's one of those technologies that's been around for a super long time, but it is actually still relevant in today's market and is still actually functional and used in a lot of great basketball sneakers and running sneakers and everything in between. So because of that, I wanted to include it in the countdown. Nike Air Zoom, if you guys didn't know, is pressurized air that has tensile fibers that kind of collapse together and then they bounce back. So they collapse and then give you that spring back that you need, which is why these things are so incredibly nice. However, on occasion, the Zoom stacks can blow out. So that is a risk of having a Nike Air in your shoe, but it's overall pretty resilient stuff and tried and true, one of those great technologies that does give you an extra bounce in your step. Personally, I think a great model that represents the Zoom technology is the Nike Air Zoom Pegasus, which is on its 39th version. And if you guys want to buy these or any of the other best models that I'm going to be mentioning in this top 22 list, check the links in the description. They'll take you to the respective websites for any of these shoes that I'm going to be talking about. And if you guys do use my links, I do get a small kickback from your guys' purchase, which does help support the channel a lot. So it's much appreciated when you guys do that. Number 21 spot goes to the Adidas Adiprene Plus, another one that's not very new, but it's something that's still generated on a lot of different lifestyle models on the Adidas side, which is pretty cool to be able to see. And it gives you a sneaker foam tech in just a baseline model that gives you some sort of an identity of what you have in the midsole, which is honestly perfect branding. It's great to be able to see that. I don't really like it when companies create a new model, a new shoe, but they don't really have any branding in the midsole foam, even though you know that there is some sort of a technology in the midsole foam. I like to personally have a brand in it, and it's nice to be able to see, and I personally like to be able to see that Adiprene Plus cushioning. A good example of a pair of sneakers that has Adiprene Plus, one that is stuck around for quite a while for Adidas as well, is the Adidas Oswegos. They're actually really comfortable shoes from a casual perspective, something that you can throw on feet and just wear them all day. Take them off and you're good to go. It's not super soft, not super squishy, not super firm though either, and overall it feels really good on feet. Number 20 spot goes to the APL FutureFoam. APL is one of those brands that some people probably don't even know about still, but if you guys remember, there was a pair of sneakers that were banned from the NBA because it gave people an unfair competitive like advantage for jumping or something like that. Anyways, APL is a company that created those shoes back then. Now they do basketball shoes, but they also do have running sneakers. They created a new one with this FutureFoam like 2 years ago now, I believe, and it's actually pretty decent on feet. It says the midsole compound was developed to provide exceptional compression, rebound, and energy return through strenuous testing over 24 months. The model that I would suggest checking out is the APL Streamline. Not a bad looking model, honestly, but it's a $300 shoe, so you're definitely paying a premium price for their IP for this foam and this midsole. Is it better than everything else on the market? I would say no. That's why it's lower on this list, but it's still pretty good that they created their own stuff and they actually have branding behind it, which is again something I like. Number 19 spot goes to the UA HOVR technology. This features an energy web mesh fabric that wraps the cushioning core to deliver responsiveness and energy return. And honestly, it's pretty good stuff, but it is felt more on some models than others. The one that I personally really liked was the Under Armour Summit fat tires, and it doesn't sound like a regular model. It's because it's not. The midsole is so giant and it's supposed to kind of be like a bike tire in a sense with the tread and everything. It's kind of like a hiking boot, sneaker boot, sort of convertible like top that comes off, the shroud comes off. It's a pretty cool pair. I did a review on them a long time ago, and all in all, the midsole is actually pretty decent on them with the UA HOVR technology. Number 18 spot goes to the CloudTec technology. They say it's a multi-directional cushioning that activates during landing when you need it. And in my opinion, when I tried the Cloud X, it's actually a really comfortable shoe. It's lots of ground feel in the midsole and not necessarily a lot of feeling of squishiness like you think Cloud, because it's like soft squishy and stuff like that. It's not anything like that, but it does feel like a firmer like landing when you're walking and running around. But a lot of people really enjoy the CloudTec in the on running shoes, and I gotta say, like, it's just one of those shoes that I've tried and I have them in my garage still, because it's just sometimes I don't want a super soft squishy shoe. Sometimes I want to feel something that just feels good and feels like I have perfect ground feel and stuff as I'm walking around, and that's the overall sensation that I get from that. Now, the best model that I would recommend that I still haven't tried yet is the On Cloud Monster. A lot of people have told me this is a great option. A lot of reviews say that they tried their base models and they weren't very good. They tried the Monsters and they really sold them on the tech. That's hopefully going to be my experience when I get to try them. That's probably why they're lower on this list as of now. If I do end up trying them next year, then I'll probably put them higher on the list if they actually perform the way that people suggest. 17 on the list goes to the Adidas 4D technology. This is a 3D printed lattice midsole structure from Carbon's digital light synthesis technology. This is by far one of the coolest looking midsoles, I still think, to this day. It has such a crazy looking lattice design in the midsole, and the best model that I would suggest trying for the 4D technology to get the best experience is the 4D Forward by far. It is the softest and like the most propelling and just the overall best like designed and engineered midsole comparative to the Futurecrafts, which I love the look of. The Futurecrafts is a lot more firm on feet than the 4D Forward. So definitely try the 4D Forwards. If you've tried previous and you've never tried the 4D Forwards, try it and you're going to be like, whoa, this is like way better than the previous stuff. Number 16 spot goes to the MIZUNO ENERZY Foam. Now, I always thought this said energy originally, but it's actually energy. And it's supposed to be a versatile foam with softness and resilience. I've tried a couple different models with this technology. And from my experience, it's something that's not very soft, but there is a lot of bounce factor with the shoes. Like they did a little drop ball test on the midsole and you could see it just bounce and bounce and keep bouncing until it slowly stops, versus other foams that just bounce and then stop like that. Like, so it's like pretty responsive in that regard, but overall it's just not very soft. It's like more of like a rubber compound in my opinion. I would say the best looking model, one that I haven't tried, but one that is on my list, is the Mizuno Wave New Ultra. This thing looks crazy, but the price point's like $250. So I don't know if it's worth the $250. It's one of those ones that I just haven't decided to pull the trigger on, but it looks pretty cool and it probably is better than some of the other ones that I've tried. Number 15 spot goes to Nike Cushlon. Now this is another sneaker cushioning technology that's been around for quite a while. It's one that Nike kind of puts under the radar. They don't really bring it to the forefront. A lot of the time in some of the models, they just kind of secretly put on models and we don't even know it. Kushlon is supposed to be a foam compound that is used in many sports and different models. And one of them they actually use Kushlon in is the Go Fly Ease, but they also use it in the new LeBron 20s as well. And one thing that I've noticed about Kushlon though is it doesn't seem to have the same foam density properties from model to model. And am I the only one that feels like this? Because there's some models that I've tried in the past with a double stack of Kushlon that was absolutely crazy soft and squishy on feet. And then you get the Go Flies and it doesn't feel like there's anything soft and squishy. It just feels like a regular foam, but supposedly it's Kushlon. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Sometimes it's like really, really prominent and softer. And then other times it feels it's much firmer. But any which way, it's something used across the board in a lot of different shoes. Nike Kushlon. Number 14 spot goes to the UA Flow technology. And this is a very interesting one because it is one of the only ones that I can think of on market that's a complete package with midsole and outsole combined. So I tried the UA Flow Velocity 2. It's a pretty nice model, honestly. The upper is nice and breathable. And the midsole had the Flow technology. I know the Curry sneakers have the Flow technology as well, but it's very interesting how it's just midsole and no outsole. It's sticky enough and resilient enough that they can use it for a midsole and an outsole. I think that's pretty crazy that they've actually created something like that. Overall, it's actually pretty decent on feet as well. It's not the craziest, softest, and squishiest thing, but it's bouncy and it feels really nice. Overall, it's a good experience, though. I feel like UA is going to utilize this over and over again and put it on a lot more things in the future. The Flow technology is something to try if you haven't yet. Number 13 spot, unlucky 13, we have the Hoka EVA Foam midsole. Now, Hoka doesn't have a proprietary foam that they call out on their sneakers, which drives me nuts. I want them to be able to say, look what we have. It's called this, the Hoka Cloudy Fly Fun Gadgety Foam, or whatever they're going to call it. But they don't have a name. It's just EVA foam in the midsole. But it's good. Regardless of that, Hoka, I guess, is the brand. And that is what people know for the midsole technology. It's soft. It gives you a nice landing as you're going. It doesn't have the most like bounce back or anything like that, so it's not overly responsive. But if you want a nice soft cushion landing when you're walking around or running, Hoka offers a bunch of different sneakers that do that. The Cliftons are the ones that I personally would recommend. The Clifton 8 is amazing, but the Bondi 8s are also really nice as well. Another great option, but again, Cliftons are my go-to for Hoka. But overall, very good on feet, and especially with the Cliftons, one of my favorites. I feel like that probably could land higher on this countdown, but there's a lot of great foams out there. And then, like I said, there's a lot of new ones that are on sneakers this year that you guys are going to get into in just a second. One of them being Puma Nitro, the number 12 spot on the countdown. Puma Nitro technology came out the other year, and I got to tell you, man, it's pretty good. It's a nitrogen-infused midsole. It's lightweight, it's responsive. It has a really good feel on feet, and again, that nitrogen-infused foam is something that we're going to see more and more of. This one might have placed higher on the countdown, but unfortunately I haven't tried the new Deviate Nitro 2s yet. I tried the first one. There was some definite issues on that model that I didn't like, but I feel like the technology's there, and the second version looks amazing. So definitely hope to try those pretty soon. And then, you know, I'll have a follow-up with the top 10 most comfortable sneakers at the end of the year that you guys could check back and watch that video. Number 11 spot for myself goes to the Reebok Float Ride Foam. Now, Float Ride has been out for a couple years as well, and honestly, it's pretty good stuff as well. I don't know if it's nitrogen infused. It almost looks and feels like it, but it is really good, soft, responsive, everything like we want, resilient, lightweight. And the best model that I tried that I really enjoyed was the Reebok Energy X. This is a $170 model, really nice overall structure on these, something that I think people would enjoy running in. Overall, a really good experience. A lot of people talked about Adidas Boost, but Reebok, who was under that same umbrella, at least at the time, had Float Ride, and Float Ride definitely has something there. So Reebok Float Ride, really nice one in my opinion. Number 10 spot's gonna go to Skechers Hyperburst. It's true. Regular Burst was terrible from back in the day, like absolutely terrible, like a mimic of Boost, but done in such a terrible way of just a foam midsole. But Skechers Hyperburst has some sort of technology that they use, like a pressure cooker on a little teeny foam that's this big, and then it puffs it out when it's done cooking it, and it's like just ginormous. It's actually like very cellular looking. It's almost like it's nitrogen infused, if maybe it is, but it's really good on feet. It's very soft, again, very lightweight and resilient, and everything else in between. It's a great foam to really try out, and they have a bunch of different models worthy of checking out. Some of the high-end running shoes are upwards of $200 from Skechers, and they actually really are decent. I don't think a lot of people like talking about them, including myself. There's a little bit of a shame factor there because Skechers bites all these other brands all the time, but this is one of the times where I'm like, they actually created something before a lot of the other brands are now creating like these nitrogen-infused foams. They actually created this stuff before a lot of them. I'm sure they did some copying along the way still, but they actually created a pretty decent product, which is why it's at the number 10 spot. The models that I would recommend is probably the Go Runs, but the top running sneakers that they have, probably worth a look. I've never tried any of them, afraid of really liking them, but the Go Runs are actually pretty decent. I've tried 2 different models. Number 9 spot goes to Nike React technology. This is definitely one of the top 10 for sure. It's been around for a handful of years now, and it's really quite amazing. It's one of the technologies that sort of replaced the Lunarlon era of sneakers, which is one of the ones that I remember, the first ones that I was like, okay, there's sneaker technology in this midsole. There's actually this soft Lunarlon foam. I didn't even know at the time it was a dual density foam that had a softer foam and then a carrier foam. Any which way, it was great stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I had quite a few pairs of Lunarlon sneakers, but Nike React is kind of like the mainstay for majority of like running sneakers and basketball sneakers and all sorts of different sports. It's kind of the one that use more than Kushlon from what it seems like, but they've had a bunch of different models with Nike React. The main one is the Nike React Infinity Flyknit 3s they're on now. Those ones are great. Definitely recommend trying those ones out if you guys want a nice version of Nike React with a nice midsole. It's soft, it's squishy. There's some bounce back for sure in the Nike React technology, so definitely worth trying out. It's not the lightest foam on the market. You'll see later in the countdown, Nike does have one that's much lighter, but overall, it's actually really good stuff. Number 8 spot goes to Adidas Boost. I feel like I have to include it in this countdown. It's really the one that helped inspire the revolution of super foams in my mind. Like Adidas Boost was the one that we all tried from a casual perspective that was guaranteed made for running. And then we've kind of flipped the script on it, and now it's like a casual lifestyle technology that we all really love. Adidas Boost midsole is made up of thousands of TPU pellets that are basically infused together and creates this foam Boost midsole. The responsiveness in the Adidas Boost is crazy. It's not the softest and squishiest foam out there anymore, but it definitely has some bounce. It's pretty awesome stuff still. My recommended model that I absolutely love still is the Adidas Ultra Boost, obviously, but they do have the Ultra Boost 22 as of the point of this video, and they'll be rolling out the Adidas Ultra Boost 23 very soon as well, which I can't wait to get my hands on once it does. And once again, if you guys want to buy these or any of the other shoes I'm talking about in the video, link in the description, and you guys can go over to their respective sites and then check them out. Number 7 spot on the countdown goes to Saucony Power Run Plus, or Power Run PB. This stuff is actually pretty incredible. It's very similar to Adidas Boost, but I would honestly say it's a little bit softer than Boost technology now. For the Saucony Run PB, it's actually their premier cushioning material, a beaded foam made from a proprietary blend of PEBA polymers. Power Run PB is half the weight of EVA and exceptionally bouncy with an 88% energy return. It's also consistent across all temperatures, very similar to Adidas Boost. And then they do have a step-down version, the Power Run Plus. It's a PU-based cushioning system that was formulated to basically help with cushioning, impact absorption, stride, responsiveness, pressure, reduction, energy return, durability, and weight. Saucony is also somebody that's been working with these PBA like infused pellets for quite a while. Their first version was actually the Saucony Ever Run. That was the first time I was like, whoa, Saucony is creating like Adidas Boost like type materials, but they've been running with it and creating different blends and making softer and lighter versions. Number 6 spot goes to the Brooks DNA Loft 3. This is pretty incredible stuff. I probably tried maybe 5 different versions of DNA type materials from Brooks, and mostly all of them have just been meh. They're all like kind of firm underfoot and not as soft as I hoped, or they're like soft, but they're not responsive. But now comes the DNA Loft V3, which is a nitrogen infused midsole, soft, lightweight, responsive, and so on. The Brooks DNA Loft V3 is the one that I'm like, dude, this is like a real improvement from anything they've ever created. And a prime example is the Brooks Glycerin 20. Hands down, way better than the Brooks Glycerin 19s because it has the DNA Loft V3 versus whatever they had in the previous model. It's a lot softer, it's a lot squishier on feet. It's an overall better experience for our runners, I'm sure, but also from a casual perspective. It's a go-to shoe that you could actually wear and feel really comfortable in. And you'll probably be seeing this in my top 10 comfort sneakers of 2022 because I really enjoy it that much. Now, Brooks does have a couple different versions of cushioning technology still in their lineage. They have the DNA Amp technology, which has the highest energy return. And then they also feature the DNA Flash, which is supposed to be the lightest. But none of them beat the DNA Loft V3 in my opinion. I absolutely love it. All right, we made it to the top 5. Hope you guys are enjoying the video. Number 5 spot's gonna go to the New Balance Fresh Foam X. Since I originally tried the New Balance Fresh Foam X technology in the 1080 V10s, now they're currently on the V12 model. I was just blown away. I was like, this is a really soft, squishy, nice, comfortable foam. It's not as firm as some of the cushioning sneakers out there that are supposed to add like a nice soft cushioning, but maybe not a lot of responsiveness. There's kind of a little bit more responsiveness, I guess, than some of the other foams on the market, but it's not crazy responsive, if you will, because New Balance has something else that you'll hear about in a second that is that crazy responsiveness. Any which way, it's soft. And I really enjoy the 1080 V12. It's a model that I have 3 different versions of now. It's just a very comfortable all-around pair of sneakers. And the Fresh Foam X material is just really nice. The other model that I'd recommend other than the 1080 V12 is the More V4. If you need more cushioning and you have a wider foot, the More V4 is insane. The stack of cushioning is crazy on those things. It's like a recovery shoe for sure, but one that you can just wear casually as well. I feel like if the stack is too high for you though, then the overall experience of the 1080 V12 can't really be matched. It's just a great ground feel and cushioning experience. The upper is nice as well. Everything about that shoe I really enjoy. But New Balance Fresh Foam X provides cushion from high impact foot strikes and soft pillow-like absorption. Definitely true, definitely does its work, and reason why it's in the top 5. Number 4 spot goes to the ASICS FF Blast Plus. Now, did not expect this one to be as good as it is, and it offers a bounce running experience and provides more energized rebound with each step. The best model in my opinion for you to try is the ASICS Nova Blast 3, but there's also the Gel Nimbus 24. Those 2 models are incredible, and I really just enjoy the FF Blast Plus. This is another example similar to Brooks where the previous year model of both of these shoes were just with FF Blast. They didn't have the Plus in it. The Plus makes it extra soft. Whatever they did, the formula change from the FF Blast to the FF Blast Plus, they made it so much better in my opinion, and something that I just really enjoy from a casual perspective. Now I did try running in them a little bit, and I'm a little heavier set dude, so I didn't feel the bounce back as much as somebody that's probably lighter, but overall they're excellent shoes, and surprising that they made a top 5 for me, but really impressed with what they created. Number 3 spot goes to the Nike Zoom X technology. No shocker there, Zoom X is actually pretty amazing stuff. And if you guys have tried the Nike Zoom X Invincible Run, you guys know what I'm talking about, or the Invincible Run 2. Same midsole in both of them, but really soft, squishy. Bounce back is good on those as well. They're just one of those fun pairs of sneakers with a wide body on them. Gives you some stability, because if you didn't have a wide body, you'd feel like you're going to topple an ankle, because it is really soft stuff. In fact, that's probably why I prefer this over like the Alpha series, where it's like the more elite version of running shoe. I'm not the elite runner. I need the thick boy midsole with the thick boy heel section so I don't roll anything. But Nike Zoom X is their softest, lightest, most responsive foam from Nike, and it has a ton of bounce in it. If you've never tried it, you're probably missing out. If you like React, it's like that, but better. So I'll just go ahead and leave it at that, but number 3 spot. All right, number 2 spot on the list goes to the Adidas Lightstrike Pro. Adidas Boost was amazing, great stuff. I think Lightstrike Pro might be the future for what they're offering though. Lightstrike Pro is serious. Now the model I'd recommend trying is the Adizero Adios Pro 3, but they also do have the Prime X, which is insanely big max stack cushion. The Prime X gave me the feel on feet where it's just like, you know that there's some crazy bounce going on there. So Lightstrike Pro is the most responsive lightweight foam from Adidas. It has insane bounce back on feet. And in my opinion, the only thing Adidas needs to do is create a wide bodied version. Give me a Nike Invincible Run version of an Adidas shoe with the Lightstrike Pro with the same body width and the heel, and you'll be golden. Because that's my only complaint, is a lot of the running shoe models are made for elite runners, obviously, which is okay, but they're so narrow that you feel like you're going to topple over and break an ankle in them. I need something wider to really have fun with this midsole, because it's really crazy on feet. I want to know if Adidas is going to actually use this in like basketball shoes as well and other things, because the technology is amazing. It's something that I've tried a handful of different versions, and every single time it's not the right application for me, lifestyle side, but every single time I'm just blown away. I'm like, oh dude, this is going to be so good when they do X, Y, and Z with this shoe. So hopefully they have a Dame Lillard with like Lightstrike Pro. Hopefully they have a wide-bodied running shoe for casual with Lightstrike Pro. Hopefully they make a Terex Free Hiker 3 with Lightstrike Pro. I mean, shoot, give me an Adidas Ultra Lightstrike Pro. I'll be super stoked about that. I hope Adidas does wonders with it, because the technology's there. They just need to, again, apply it to a wider audience, and you guys are going to be blown away if you've never tried it. But we made it to the number one spot. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for stopping by and watching. And if you guys, again, want to buy any of these, link in the description. Number one spot for foam technology for myself personally, 2022, it's going to go to the New Balance fuel cell technology. This is the one that's just won me over, specifically because of the fuel cell SC trainers, or the Super Comp trainers. Unbelievable shoe. It's just one of my favorite shoes that I've released in a long time. It's basically like everything that I loved about the Laredo the previous year, and then made it bigger, made it softer, and overall they just made an incredible pair of sneakers with those specifically. But they have fuel cell in so many different things. Another model is the Rebel Fuel Cell V3. Those are incredible. They do have wide versions of both of these shoes, which is the reason why I really enjoy what New Balance creates. If you've never tried fuel cell though, it is a EVA foam created to improve impact, pivot, and takeoff for runners. A speed-inspired cushioning that is responsive, light, and very bouncy. And when you put the Rebel fuel cells on, or the SC trainers on, you get the craziest soft, squishy feel underfoot. I'm a heavier set dude, so of course my squish is going to be a little bit more severe than somebody that weighs like way less than me. But like, it's insane. It's so good. And the crazy thing about the SC trainers as well that I'll say is, it's a big stack of fuel cell that's very soft, squishy, but it's very well balanced as well, where you don't feel like you're going to roll an ankle walking around in them casually. And it's crazy because these are actually a plated runner as well. So normally plated runners are plated and too much rocker motion, and then also too narrow in the heel. So you feel like you're going to rock left and right, or you feel like you're going to rock forward too much. But I don't feel any of those sensations to an extreme in this shoe. Even with the rocker sensation, it's something that helps you if you're going to walk quickly or run quickly, but it's also something that you can use just walking around. I wore the SC trainers to Disneyland. It was super comfortable, something I really enjoyed waiting in line for, as well as walking quickly from rope drop to get to Rise of the Resistance or something like that. It was really easy just to be able to walk quickly in those shoes, and then wait in line. I thought I would be uncomfortable because of standing there with the rocking motion of the plate, but it wasn't like that at all. It was really comfortable, very well balanced. A great engineered shoe, but the technology is what makes it great, and the fuel cell is just unmatched by anything on the market. In my opinion, it's like the softest, most responsive, just overall amazing technology that you definitely should try if you've never tried it. Anyways, that's my top 22 sneaker cushioning technologies for 22. If I missed one that you guys are like, bruh, what about this one or that one? I'm sure I probably missed a couple of them because there's more than 22, obviously, but these are the ones that I wanted to focus on. So if you have other suggestions, leave them in the comment section. Much appreciated when you guys do that. If you have any comments that validate anything I said for other people that are watching the video, always appreciate it if you guys do that as well. Let them know that I'm not just out here blowing smoke. But anyway, appreciate you all for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully we'll see you guys back on the channel for my top 10 sneakers for comfort sneakers of 2022. I'll have that towards the end of the year. So check back, subscribe, check my channel out. I post almost daily. So anyway, have a good one. Hopefully we'll see you back. All right, peace guys.